The next question we have is from Elizabeth. In essays that talk about personal experiences, what kind of personal experiences is Cornell looking for? Leadership, service to the community, etc. Mariana, any perspective there on what Cornell means when it asks about personal experiences?
Yeah, absolutely. So personal experiences don't necessarily have to be in your personal life. That could also extend to your academic life. It can extend to some sort of like social interaction or group project you're working on, some sort of work experience. For me, when I was applying to the School of Industrial and Labor Relations, and I had to share and leverage personal experiences to show why I was a good fit for the industrial and labor relations schools. I talked about a few things. I talked about my experience in Model UN and how that helped me learn to speak and debate. I spoke about my love for the musical Newsies, not something more personal, but how we talked about unions there. And I also talked about my interests in like history and economics through my coursework. So those three things I'm hitting on academic, I'm hitting on personal with my love for the show, and I'm also hitting on an extracurricular. So personal experience can really mean whatever you want as long as you write and convey the ideas effectively as it applies to the school.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Next question is from Marcus. CALS has 2 optional essays. Do you recommend completing all 3? Mariana, do you typically advise your students to complete all 3, just complete a couple? Like, what's your perspective there
My
for CALS?
perspective is that if you are able to write all 3 answers without, of course, sacrificing the quality of any of them, I would recommend to do that because it does communicate your kind of continued interest and specific interest in CALS. Skipping out on that may convey the point that you're less interested in the school, but of course, that's assuming that you're able to reach the quality threshold that you're looking to.
Yeah. I think the thing I would add to that is I would say, unless an optional essay is clearly about, like, hey, these like special circumstances or something like that, I would almost always write them. Now, I think to Mariana's point, if you don't have a good answer, specifically, especially for prompt number 3, I think the second of the 3 prompts, the first of the 2 optional prompts, is still probably worth writing in most cases because it's something that almost everyone should be able to find an effective answer to. Okay, the next question is from Sky. Between economics and the arts of in College of Arts and Sciences and the business school, which one is more competitive to get into? Any perspective there, Mariana?
Yes, absolutely. So the actual majors, I would say, have a lot of overlap between the Dyson School, which is the business school you're referring to, and economics in the school at College of Arts and Sciences. The Dyson School is one of the most competitive colleges at Cornell. I think that the figure as of recently is something like a 3% acceptance rate. It's a very common thing actually for economics majors to end up transferring into Dyson. So if you're asking about sheer statistical chances of getting in, economics and arts and sciences in general has a higher admissions acceptance rate. That said, if you're interested in just business more broadly, the hotel school, if you have a specific hotel and that type of business, that one has an acceptance rate that is more in line with the College of Arts and Sciences acceptance rate.
Awesome. And so our next question is from Neo. Do freshman year grades have a significant effect on admissions? They are not trivial, right? So they do play a role. But if you have an overarching upwards trend where you have really strong grades your sophomore, junior, and senior year, they can certainly be overcome. But freshman year grades do play a role in the admissions process. All right, our next question is from Dinesh. Which Cornell school is best for students pursuing a pre-medical track? Mariana, what would you say are like what in your experience, where would you say like most of your classmates who are planning on applying to medical school focus? Are they in CALS? I think you mentioned there's a lot of pre-med students in CALS, or any other schools that there's that kind of focus on?
Yeah, so I've actually seen pre-med students in almost all of the colleges, including industrial and labor relations, which is what I study. But most typically, we see them in the College of Arts and Sciences, studying something like biology, chemistry, as I mentioned, or psychology, anything like that, just doing the pre-med courses. But additionally, we see them in the College of Human Ecology. So that's the HUMEC school. They have a number of different majors that people study. Sometimes that might be healthcare policy, and you still do those required courses in pre-med. But I would say, again, the 3 most common schools would be arts and sciences, CALS, or HUMEC, or human ecology.